So yeah, there's.
I was like mid conversation.
I'm sure with all the distance learning.
Yes.
That's beginning right now. There's a significant lack of low priced.
Well, because the school found out they ran out of computers, which I'm always weird about.
Yeah.
Like you did the same exact thing. That's like, listen, if we're gonna play this game, I don't want to be holding on to other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, not just that, man.
It's
like,
just performance because that's bottom of the barrel stuff.
I own a few styles of tinfoil hat.
Okay.
And I don't want a government agency sending a computer into my home.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a whole new level. There's that jar.
So
let me go ahead and tighten that one for a minute.
Dude, there's already been issues.
Oh no,
there's been actual reported issues where the webcams were running.
Right.
When they weren't turned on.
When they weren't supposed to be.
Yeah. So
no, I agree.
Hard pass on on Uncle Sam's free laptop.
Yeah, so I went to the department store and I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna go pick up a laptop, and there was not any lower priced this is going to my kid's laptop.
Gotcha.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna throw my life in my hands. I'm gonna go to the other department store, which is a little bit just shadier. Not my favorite. It's just if I go, hey, I went to the department store that reminded me like I was in Phoenix, you would know exactly which department store.
Oh, for sure. About. I mean, what's interesting is that one of them is built on potentially an ancient Indian burial ground, and the other one isn't.
Really? Didn't know that.
Listen, I have no evidence to support that, but it's built on tribal land. So
yes.
If one of them was going to be like
you would think
haunted,
it would be the other one.
It would be the other one.
Right.
The other one has a Starbucks in the parking lot. You know?
I don't normally, it's not on my top tier of, hey, I need to run to the store.
Yeah.
But I was in this situation.
Like that one's 15 minutes closer than the one that you usually go to.
Oh, I bypass it.
Yeah.
I still go. It doesn't exist normally. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go to the other one. The only ones that they had left were so much more than like.
Yeah.
So I
were
blew
overkill.
it. I blew it. So then I'm like, never mind. So I hopped back in the Tucker Mobile, drove back to the first department store. I was like, listen, if I'm going to spend
X amount of dollars, I don't want to, I'd rather spend X and not 2X. So many jokes, but yeah. So went back and was able to get some laptops, but they will, as soon as the kids are done with, we had this conversation of homeschooling, which that is not what this debacle is. It is not homeschooling.
I
know this because I do.
Yes. It's a completely different.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame.
We have control over our curriculum. We get to choose it. We're prepared. Our kids know exactly what they're walking into on the first day of school. Yeah. Versus what the crap sandwich you guys got served up this afternoon today.
We're recording a little bit later because I had a debacle of all things. But when I left, my daughter was in gym class.
Oh, interesting.
Was in PE.
Like a Zoom gym class?
I have no idea. I'm intrigued to. I just wanted to just burst in the room and throw it, be like dodgeball time. like I don't even know. Like
you can dodge a wrench.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, do push-ups? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like on Zoom, it's weird. So I'm anxious to see some legitimate way. But yeah, we got some computers. But as soon as they are done, I will have myself a nice new
laptop that works when it's not plugged in.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has ever
watched this.
Noticed that. I know.
And we're still recording.
Well, it's one of those things like I'll unplug it. I got a new charger for it, so it'll actually stay. Because remember for a while, I'd be sitting here.
You were on the struggle bus real hard.
Like I'd be sitting here and it'd be like, oh, it would just die because it wasn't plugged in. And I'd be like, but it is. But it is plugged in. So I got a new charger for it. But yes, if I was to unplug this right now, it would probably last
a minute or so and then not even give me a warning and just
Yeah, you can unplug it
Fade
long
to
enough
black.
to move it from one room to another.
yeah, I had it.
But only if you have a clear pathway in mind of
Yeah.
how you're going to get the thing plugged back in.
Yes, I unplugged it when I left my house to come here. Like as I was leaving the house, I unplugged it, walked out, drove straight here, which it's, 10, 15 minutes ish. I got here.
24?
What?
22. 22.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I got here, what, like 10 minutes ago?
No. Not
I said,
10 minutes
I'm-
ago. You said you're leaving your house,
Now.
and that was at 1:55, and you showed up at about, I don't know, 2:18.
All right. Well, whatever. It was dead by the time I got
Yeah.
here. So, there you go. Laptops. So I'll have a new one.
Shout out to all you distance
Relatively.
learning.
Yeah.
people.
I was like, it's not homeschooling. It's
No.
it's distance learning, and I could go off on a huge rant, but I already subjected you to that today, and
It's
no
true.
one wants that.
It's true.
So there's some
Oh,
colorful
yeah.
words.
Welcome back to school, kids.
Yeah, there's some colorful
And by
words.
school, I mean,
Whatever this is.
it's, yeah, whatever this is.
Yeah, I was talking to our other business partner, Josh, and I'm just going off, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm driving my son to football practice right now, and you're on speakerphone." I'm like, "Hey, I
Hey.
apologize for
Well,
all that. It's just been one of those days."
sometimes some people need to learn to answer their phones if they're on Bluetooth.
You and I are really good at it.
You go, hey, I'm in the car with the kid,
Yep, you and I are.
just in case.
I did that with
Just
one
in
of
case you're calling me angry about something.
yeah, I did that with one of our other buddies that
Yeah.
called me the other day, and I'm on Bluetooth and had the family in the car, and I was like, "Hey, just so you know," because I had to talk to him.
Yeah.
I had some business to attend to, but it was like, "Hey, just so you know, you're on speakerphone, and my family's in the car." He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, good to know."
All right, then.
Hey, family,
Hey.
what's up? Yeah. So yes,
I'm in weird
rant mode
week of
today.
last week of summer vacation for you over at the Tucker family
Yeah.
house.
It's been a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was like,
It's
how much
also
time do we have?
it's
gonna
it's
go
also
off about
primary election day in the state of Arizona.
it. You made me
chuckle
hard today. Sir.
So, as just a reminder, before we get too deep in the weeds, listen, if you didn't already, it's too late for the primary elections. But, the general election's coming up, and there's still a whole lot of crappy candidates that are going to be on that ballot. So, don't forget to write in Tucker and the Beard for any literally any office where you don't like the candidates that are available.
position. I'll take a phone call. Listen, they can call
Make
me
it
up
happen.
and they can call me up and say, "Listen, enough people wrote you in."
That we at least want to talk to you.
Yeah,
So,
great.
anyway, happy election day, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
So, but yeah, that's what's been going on today. Yesterday was my daughter's
I know, man.
17th birthday.
That is
if you want to feel
nuts.
old.
That is nuts. Congratulations.
We did some quick math yesterday. My parents came over to the house. We had a little family birthday party
Okay.
at the crib, and I started to think that when my mother was young when she had me, and I was young when my daughter was born,
Right.
and it just so happens that I am now the same age that my mother was when my daughter was born.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That took me a minute to kind of wrap my
Takes
head
a second to process,
around. Yeah.
but that's how it goes down.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things like we always, my wife and I always think about it all the time. Not so much putting you, but you're in the same boat as
Yeah.
my wife and I. How old were you when you met your wife?
10.
Okay. Not exactly the age, because
I
I was
was-
like, I knew it was
in
high
fact-
school.
In fact,
Like,
no, I
no,
met
you
her
guys-
in the 4th grade.
Right. You guys go to
We
school.
go-
But I was like, when I met my wife She was 19.
When I met your wife, she was 15.
I understand. You got me beat.
No, and that's
No,
not.
no,
it's
no.
just so yeah. It's
Or do I have you beat? No, I'm just joking. No, but yeah, exactly. So maybe it's not the best now, but we were kind of going, okay, our oldest is 15.
right. No, I
And
see
we
where you're going with
and we're
this.
like, oh, he's only 4 years away from
yeah,
how old we, and so it's just kind of crazy because we were young when we, younger. We were like an episode of, 16 and Pregnant. We look like, we go back and look at pictures now. Everybody was like, oh, there's
disclaimer:
so
Tucker's
young.
wife
We
was
were-
not 16
No,
and
she
pregnant.
was, and neither, yes. No, but we looked young.
Yeah.
We have a weird reverse Twilight thing happening now where I'm aging and she is not.
Well, it's funny you mention Twilight because my daughter, whose birthday was yesterday, huge fan.
Team Edward?
Huge fan. Yes, Team Edward.
Come on.
And so as part of our gift to her, yesterday was just all about her. She went and got her nails done, got her hair
That's
done,
awesome.
took her shopping. Just had a her day.
That's awesome.
And we also watched the first Twilight movie.
Which I think,
And all of them look like just babies. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at, most notably,
how did the vampires age? I'm just kidding.
but like Anna Kendrick
Mm-hmm.
looks like an infant in that movie.
Yeah.
And,
Who's
and
the
so, like, she's so young.
who's the crazy breakout star
Yeah.
of those? Like they had multiple breakout stars, but
Obviously, Robert Pattinson.
But if you were to rank
Was-
them,
Oh, yeah. She's probably,
she's done the
just
best.
box office gross wise, like,
Yeah.
she's raked in more money at the box office than anybody.
probably a couple times over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Pattinson kind of, other than he was in the
got
one
it-
Harry
he
Potter
just-
movie,
yeah.
but he
But that was
kind of went more
before.
of an indie route.
Yeah, the kind of an artistic, which I respect. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I love the craft.
Except for now he's going to
Sweet.
be Batman.
I know he's coming out swinging though. I think it's gonna be,
I think it's going to be good.
dude. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I really
I'm
do.
putting all the chips
Yeah.
on. We were talking gambling, and I've never played that kind of gambling, so I don't know the correct terminology. I'm like, I'm putting it all on Battinson. I think that's gonna be awesome. But yeah, roundabout, thing of Twilight. I think the first one's the best one. I'll flat out own it. I've seen them all. Probably a
I've
couple
seen them.
times
I've seen
over.
them all. This was the very second time that I've seen the first one.
Okay, I can't
Just
say the
is what
same
it is.
thing.
But
Like I say, I
So
just
s-
own things now. I'm like, yep.
yeah,
I went
listen,
with my wife to the theater to see one of them. I can't remember. Like maybe multitude of them because she wanted to go see them.
I'm
Okay.
sure.
I'm going to take her to go see them.
that's what you do. Listen, when the books came out,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because I try and be a loving, supportive husband
Right.
who takes interest in things that my wife takes interest in.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, to just have
Conversation.
conversations.
Yeah.
So when the books were out, I checked out the audiobooks
Okay.
through the library system
Mm-hmm.
and listened to them during my commute while she was, after she had read them.
Right.
And so, again, while we're on the topic of just owning things that we've done that
Right.
maybe
That's
people
what,
would find shameful.
but
Listen,
I think that makes you a
I
good
own
husband.
I own a Nickelback CD.
Yeah. That's
So
I
not saying I'm a
it's-
fan. I'm just saying I own one of their albums. So
See, but
at
that's
one
so
point in
funny.
time, I thought they were good enough to buy one of their records.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you brought that up. I was having that conversation with my wife just like a couple days ago of just going, you know what? Like, I've never had anything against Nickelback. It just became the cool thing. I think we were talking about something like my son had been talking to his friends and something that he used to like.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's just like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? It just sucks that life is just that way where people like something and then it becomes cool to
To not like it.
yeah, listen, do I think that they were like hard rock or whatever that like no, they were their own
It was
its
just
own thing.
bland,
and-
generic radio rock. But here's the thing. If I have to say that there's a reason that I respect Nickelback, is that they know exactly who they are.
Right.
And they make no apologies for it.
Right.
And while it seems that it's very popular to trash on them,
Right.
the fact remains that were it not for COVID, they would have sold out 40 arenas
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. I've never had anything against them. I own probably at least one Nickelback CD. I've never seen them in concert, so I'm not like, hey, flying the Nickelback flag. But I'm just going, you know what? I own the fact I don't have anything against them. Like you said, they're not trying to pretend to be Metallica.
No, they know exactly who they are. They make zero apologies for it. And you know what? Props to them. Is it has my musical taste evolved to a point where I just don't care for it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's fine if you have a
and
reason.
it's the same reason I don't like any pop music, really.
Okay.
I'm just not a fan of pop music.
Right.
And it's for the same reason. It's formulaic. It's kind of bland and boring.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention a lot of Mr. Kroger's lyrics haven't exactly aged well.
But again, they weren't. It was kind of a poppy rock thing to begin with. I'm pretty sure they did the first Spider-Man. I don't know if it was just him solo or if it was Nickelback.
No, it was.
They did Hero.
Yeah, that was
the
Josie
Spider-Man.
Scott from. Oh man, but it wasn't really Nickelback, and it really wasn't the other band. What is the band's name?
But he did that.
Now I have to.
And then
Google
Chad
machine.
Kroeger did a thing with Santana. Like he did a song with them. Like, and it's just they weren't trying to be
No,
anything. They were probably closer.
Saliva.
Oh,
It was
Saliva.
Josie Scott from Saliva and Chad Kroeger from Nickelback.
Yeah, but that was a
And they were on
good
the
song.
They were on the Spider-Man 1
Yeah,
soundtrack.
but that was a really good song. For what it was, but it was Spider-Man.
Well, it was kind of a cool, in a way, it was a cool throwback, right? You remember when they used to write whole songs just for movies?
Yeah.
And like that was the movie's theme. And so it's a throwback to that. Were any of those songs all that great? With the exception of some of the songs written for the James Bond films, most of them weren't very good.
Right. Well, I mean, they're not winning an Oscar like a James Bond.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like some of those are truly great songs, just by themselves. They stand alone.
Yeah. Segueing, did you see Adele?
You
Or
don't see
lack
much of her.
thereof?
Yeah.
She lost.
You don't see much.
She lost a couple of Adeles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I feel bad.
I went
People
from
are like
James
giving her
Bond
a
to-
hard time. Well, I see the connection.
All
that
right.
you made
I was
there.
just trying to explain that I didn't come out of the weeds and be like, so
Have you seen it?
have you seen Adele? Like,
So,
James
but no,
Bond
and
song, Adele.
I find it
Really.
odd that people are giving her a hard time because she lost some weight.
No, I mean, good for her, but
Yeah.
it was a little bit more secretive.
She didn't
But
make
it
a
was
big
like-
deal out of it.
right.
She wasn't like
That was
she
just kinda
didn't start
crazy.
like a weight loss challenge Instagram or something like
Yeah.
that, which is sometimes a lot of celebrities will do. Similar
Well,
things will try and
Make a big
publicize
deal.
it,
Right.
make a bigger
It
deal out
wasn't
of it.
that, but it was.
You know who also lost a bunch of weight and just came out of left field with it though was Chris Pratt.
Well, that's true.
I mean, he was the
I was trying to
pudgy,
give you credit
lovable.
there.
I haven't lost that much weight, and frankly, I don't, it is what it is.
But
Yeah, but like when Chris Pratt, it was just like,
all of a sudden he showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy
It's like-
shirtless and
hey boy, what's up? It was like he was Andy, and then
Chris Pratt.
he was Chris Pratt.
Right.
Then he was Star Lord.
Right.
It was just like, a big transformation for a guy like that too.
Yeah.
Or Ethan Suplee.
Oh, dude.
You want to talk about a transformation that
one,
that he didn't make
it was
any
off
noise
key.
about.
Yeah.
He just did the damn thing.
Yeah, he showed up in Good Girls.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's that dude? Why does he look familiar?
Looks an awful lot like
I'm like, why is he looking at a
guy from
sailboat?
American History X.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Why
That's-
is he
I'm
looking
like,
for a
that's-
sailboat?
I'm like, that's Willem from Mallrats. That's where I go with it first. But, yeah.
Or I don't remember his character's name from Boy Meets World. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
he was in everything.
He was in he was in the Butterfly Effect. He
Yeah.
was in American History X,
What a
which
crazy.
is one of the most
Yeah.
disturbing but amazing films of all
that's
time.
that's like a Joker where I was like, okay, I watched it.
Yep, don't need to watch it again.
No, that's one of those. All right, I don't
Yeah.
need to be.
I do own that one on DVD, strangely enough, but I haven't. I don't know that I've even opened the package since it was given to me as a gift. Not because I didn't appreciate it, but because it's a heavy, heavy movie.
Yeah. Speaking of picking up a movie to put in a collection,
Okay,
I did that the other day.
all right.
Picked up some laptops, but as I was walking through, I saw a movie that had
Okay.
been re-released, and you're about to be shocked, but there will be some explanation to it, because it's
Alright.
quite the story as well. So I picked up Top Gun.
Okay.
Now the next question that's probably coming to your head is, knowing me, I don't
Why
know.
didn't you already own that? Yeah,
I did. I don't know what happened to
you
it.
lent it to somebody.
It's somebody.
It's the
checked-
Last Starfighter.
Right. Somebody checked it out at
from
Tucker Video
and never returned it.
and just never returned it. And
Yeah.
it was one of the, and it's always been on stream
Yeah,
or on
like
TV
right now
enough
it's on Hulu. That you
Right.
you can watch it right now on Hulu.
that I've never like looked. So I don't know
Right.
how long it's been since I actually broke out the DVD for Top Gun. And I had like the collector's edition, whatever, at the time.
yeah,
But I picked it up and it was more like an extra disc of all the making of and behind the scenes and
oh, that's cool.
and I'm like, knowing me, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, done that. So picked that up. I ended up getting into it with the cashier, man. I want to start trashing Tom Cruise. And I go,
is he
listen,
bug nuts crazy?
Yeah.
absolutely.
that was my point. I go, listen, I'm not gonna go hang out with the dude.
Yeah, separate. You know, sometimes you do have to separate the art from the artist. You
Yeah.
know, it just is what it is.
But I was like, you're about, because she goes, I've never seen this movie, which on its own, you should be proud of me that I was like leave. But
Okay,
again,
boomer.
it's yeah.
You know,
So I'm like, all right, cool. Left it alone. I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. You know, sometimes people don't see movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about the next time somebody brings up Game of Thrones and you want to get all up in your high horse.
Okay, you're talking about Top Gun, which is like 35 years old. I don't know.
No, so here's and this kind of circles
but
back.
I didn't
know,
get
I
up
know,
on it.
and
So
I'm
that's what
proud
I'm
of
saying.
you.
Like,
No, so this kind of circles back a little bit to the Nickelback
right.
thing.
Sorry, I'm going off on
No.
Top-
It's
Top Gun
it's good, but
a tirade.
it's where we have this. We've created this culture in our world right now, where there are people who just take great pride in not liking something that happens to be popular. You know, it's like, and I'll see it like on
Yeah.
Facebook and be like,
All the time.
I'm one of the 1% of people who's never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. Bet no one can steal
Cool.
this post. No one cares.
No, to quote Tiger King, no one gives. Yeah,
No.
no one cares.
I thought you were going to go with the
No, I
Tiger
didn't go
King
the distance
King
on that
quote.
one. No, but like, yeah. And no one, I didn't honestly care
Yeah.
enough to make a big deal about the fact that this cashier had never seen Top Gun. Not a, honestly, she was making more of a big deal about the fact that she had never seen it
Yeah.
than I actually cared
No,
about
and
the
that's
fact
more
that she
what
had
I was
never seen it.
commenting on. Is like, I mean, Top Gun's a
Right,
hugely popular movie. It's absolutely a classic.
right.
And you're like, I've never even seen this movie.
Okay.
Cool story, bro.
Maybe it's not, yeah, maybe it's not, you're not into fighter jets or you never sat down and watched. I think I have more of a reaction when people go, I've never seen Star Wars. That one's harder for me to be like, but normally I'll be like, really? Wow.
Because again,
okay.
it's a cultural phenomenon. But there's that subset of people who are like, I've never seen an episode of Star Wars.
Okay.
I'm better than you.
Right.
And I'm like, you're not,
That will be the extent
and you're
of,
an idiot.
but the extent of what I will say is, really? Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that will be, that's
Yeah.
it. It's more just a cultural, like, wow, Top Gun. Okay. Whatever.
Kind of one of those movies
But
that
then
you
she
figure
wanted-
everyone's seen, at least on TV sometime.
Right. But you even knew, like, and then she's just like, Tom Cruise is great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Cool. But that doesn't stop me from the fact that I'm like, you know what? He's a legit actor.
Yeah.
And I'm
Dude's
like-
got chops.
Right.
He does his own stunts very often to his own physical detriment.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he wasn't flying a fighter jet, but
Dude, he's pretty much halfway there. And like the new one, yeah.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
then I don't think you
Right.
know
I think
those things
to an
cost
extent.
a lot of money,
Yeah, no.
and I don't think they just let him borrow one.
And he
be like,
wasn't.
I'll
Tom-
figure it out.
He wasn't Tom Cruise yet.
Yeah.
Until after. He,
But-
he was in the realm, but and I brought up like Michael Jackson. I was like, listen, Michael Jackson was crazy,
Yeah.
but am I going to listen to his songs? Yeah, they're good songs. You know,
Yeah.
and
I got a copy of Bad sitting on the shelf in the other
I
room.
know. That's why I was like, I didn't know which way. You're like, no, and I'm like, I was going to call you, and I'm like, let me go.
No.
Get. But he's a good musician. I listened to his music.
He's one of the, I'm a huge fan of live music.
Yeah,
And every now and again, an artist will pass away or something of that nature. And really I've never been truly like personally affected, with the exception of one person, when a quote unquote celebrity has passed away. I've never been that like, oh,
yeah,
it's never made me upset,
right.
like for any period of time, other than to go, man, really wish I could have gotten around to seeing that dude live,
Right.
Because I'm sure the show was just amazing. And this is
Right.
something coming from somebody who doesn't like pop music,
Right.
you
He
know?
is literally the king of pop.
Yeah.
No,
But
exactly.
I remember this. This is one of my most distinct memories of Michael Jackson, just in general,
Mm-hmm.
was when the music video for his song Black or White premiered.
Which does not hold up, by the way, but it's still him.
Regardless,
I got you.
it had its world premiere on a Sunday evening, immediately following an episode of The Simpsons. And it was like a huge deal.
Right.
It was they publicized it for weeks and weeks prior
Name
to
one artist right now
that could
that could do that.
yeah.
That people would be like, hey, this huge premiere at the time. Because, well, I mean, now it's YouTube and like things are
Yeah.
now. But to have that kind of pull that's like, hey, we're shutting stuff down for a music video.
Yeah.
From
You
this
get
person.
to make the news 5 minutes shorter so that we can play this music video.
Right. Like, that's insane.
Because he did it so much better than anyone else.
Oh, yeah.
He really just did. I mean, again, you go back to Thriller.
Dude.
I mean,
It's still the
it's
first.
still the gold standard of what a music video should be.
Right, because it wasn't. That's not what they were before then. Like, that was
Yeah.
a movie.
It was a short film
Yeah.
with a long musical break in it.
Yeah, that was just, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
cool. He brought in, like, I almost said Martin Landau. Landis? Yeah. To direct it and,
Yeah.
like, do it. Does it make a whole lot of sense?
Vincent Price doing the voiceovers.
Like,
You know.
you watch it as a movie, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense,
No.
but it was still awesome. And like you said, is the gold standard. But, kind of circling back to, like, me getting into a debate with a cashier over, like, listen, you need to separate,
Right. The art from the artist.
There's a lot of singers and stuff that I don't personally like, but every once in a while they'll come out with a song that I'm like, all right, like, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Respect,
I don't know.
respect the game
Yeah,
a little bit.
exactly. But speaking of people that have passed, last week
But yeah, we
we kind of
failed to mention this.
are in memorandum. I'm sticking to it, man.
All right.
Well, because we'll hit over one, and then the reason I'm bringing it up kind of earlier. Because
Okay.
normally we do it at the end. There's a
Yeah.
reason. There's a method to my madness. I feel like I'm just going off today. But that's all right.
That's all right.
So first and foremost, Regis.
Yes.
Super. Like, that one hit me harder than I expected. Just because,
See,
like,
he was
childhood.
old,
right? We
and
knew
so
it.
to me it was like, oh,
Right.
Sometimes this will happen, and it's not out of disrespect or anything of that nature. But sometimes something will happen, where a celebrity passes away, and you're
Yeah.
like, I thought he already did.
Yeah, I knew he already hadn't. So it was one of those things where, because he was 88.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those, like, you're sad about it, but you're like, okay. It
Makes
was kind of
sense.
halfway expected.
Yeah.
But that one, like, I was like, man, that's really sad. That kind of
If you go
really
the next,
bums me out.
that is
I-
crazy.
No, but we're probably going to the same thing. I don't know though. That'll show how
Mm-hmm.
connected Tucker and the Beard are. Because we'll jump in. And I can't remember the
Okay,
actress's
if we go,
name.
oh, it's an
There's
actress.
Well, because we're getting to the actor.
Okay. Because
Okay,
if it's
that's
the
the
actor,
third.
I think we should go 3, 2, 1 and say who we think
Okay.
we're talking about.
Okay.
So,
So no.
oh,
'Cause
okay.
the
Do
second
the
one-
actress first.
Right,
then.
because it's a lady from like Casablanca or something. Like people were like really upset about this actress that had died. She was 104.
I'm like, again, like anyone who was in
104.
Casablanca, not out of disrespect, I expect that you're dead already.
Yeah.
If you were
Didn't-
in that movie, if you were
Right.
in that film, I just assumed that you had already passed away.
already passed away. But people were like really upset and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she died. She was 104.
She had a good run.
She had a really
It's sad
good
when
run.
anybody dies.
Yeah,
Listen,
no,
for
super
especially for
sad.
the for their families and
Yeah,
things
with
of
all
that nature.
All all respect and everything like that. Like that's not even what I'm saying. But I was like,
But
oh.
I also didn't know she was still alive.
Right. So then we're getting to this third one that I was more shocked at the. I thought they.
Really, we're about to go 3 for 3 in the I already thought they were dead category.
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. I thought he was again. I was like, oh, diabetes guy passed away.
I thought
And
it was
I
like
thought-
20 years
I
ago,
thought
man.
diabetes took him a long time ago.
No, like I was
And
like,
it's not to joke about the dead, but he's had no, he hasn't been in the spotlight
yeah,
for such a long time, and I just figured that he had already passed away.
like a while ago. Like I was like,
he's the reason that I say that word the way that I say that word.
yeah,
You know,
diabetes.
do I know that it's pronounced diabetes? Do I still pronounce it diabetes every single time I say it? Yes.
So with all, I mean, I'm a huge fan of his work from back in the day, but I mean, he was old during Cocoon
Right.
when we were
Because it was a movie about
children
old people.
in a nursing home that escaped
Yeah.
to go swimming
You know, magic.
in a magic pool. That's one of those movies that if you were to describe it,
Right. It's like,
it sounds
Wait.
goofy.
they did, huh?
Yeah, it just sounds goofy
Okay. Sure.
with giant alien
pods.
eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, dude, that was
The things they got away with back then.
yeah,
And people, like, talk about a movie that
Well,
people
watched
revere
it.
as a classic.
yeah.
Cocoon is one of those movies.
So much it did so well that they returned.
That's true.
Cocoon returns, and guess what? They were still older in that movie.
Yeah.
But everybody
And
else
Wilford
from
Brimley has been talking about diabetes on television for years.
for like 30 some
And
years.
so I don't know how old he was when he passed away.
I just
but
figured
I'm
that
about to
they-
find out.
I just figured they recycled those commercials because they were the same exact.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, hey, say your thing. It's like the Tootsie Pop, the Tootsie Roll commercial. I know you don't get commercials anymore. They still play the owl.
Oh yeah.
How
yeah,
many
yeah,
licks
yeah.
does it take?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how is this still going? But it does. I don't know. It's still a thing. So are you looking up?
He was 85 years old when he passed away.
So he wasn't even Regis age.
No.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So I mean, he was the youngest of the three that passed away. And again,
They
I
all,
just had kind of, because you haven't heard from any of them anytime recently.
Right.
I had kind of thought that they had already passed, and maybe I just didn't pick up on the news, and it was like, oh, Regis passed away. Oh,
Yeah.
Wilford Brimley passed away.
yeah, because when it was
Guess I thought
but
they
the
were-
Wilford Brimley, like I was like, oh, that's kind of like the Little Richard, or
Yeah.
I was like, hey, like it's not any lack of respect. It was just I kind of did my mourning when I was 12.
Like,
Apparently, he was a singer too.
really?
I
He had
can't
the
put
deep.
that.
He had the deep voice.
I can't.
Country,
I can't.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, it had to have been. No, he was out. He did an album of jazz standards.
What?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I have to find that. Anyway, yeah, that's
Okay.
a surprise for me.
All right.
That's a surprise for me. But
Yeah.
all right, so earlier we touched on just
We're all over
briefly.
the. I know.
We are.
I'm all
But
over the
I
place
wanted
today.
to share an experience that my wife and I had this week.
Okay.
So, as many people know, and unfortunately due to the COVID pandemic, a lot of movies never made it to the theater or
Mhm.
only had very short runs in the theater this year.
Before everything.
So,
Yeah.
we were browsing through Amazon Prime Video, and we're both big fans of Kevin Bacon, because who isn't? Okay, so we decide to watch
I know. Where
Hollow
this is.
Man.
Oh, you okay? I thought you
We
were going
decided to
talk
watch
about.
Hollow Man,
Okay. All right.
and
Which was his like introduction into kind of the horror
Yeah,
thriller movies.
well, so
It was creepy.
We ended up watching 2 Kevin Bacon films this week.
I was guessing
But-
that's where this is.
But no,
yes.
we watched earlier in the week we watched You Should Have Left.
Right.
Weird movie.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
That's what I thought you were going to.
It's just
Yeah.
weird. I'm not even going to get into it. It was
Right.
just weird.
Right.
So, but no, we decided to watch Hollow Man
Throw it back.
because it was
Yeah.
there.
Right.
You know, kind of a at the time modern retelling of the classic Invisible Man
Yes.
story. Let me just say this at the for the time that movie came out, the visual effects were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I
Very
appreciated
impressive.
them.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, they did it right.
Right.
They did it backwards at some points, but I give them a pass.
Okay.
Anyway, but also this year, I think it was supposed to come out in like March, and it ended up going direct to streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Was a film titled The Invisible Man.
Yes.
With Elizabeth Moss at the.
I remember that. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, yeah, they did kind of retelling.
Yeah, and so we kind of watched them one night after another
Okay.
because we had I was just walking by the Redbox at the grocery store. And I was like, oh, that's on Redbox now. I'll check that out. Wasn't going to pay $20 to stream it,
Good call.
but $2 to rent it for the evening, not so bad.
Right.
So yeah, we watched those kind of back to back, and as a fan of scary movies, the new one was better in every possible way.
Wow. Okay.
It was just so. I mean, in Hollow Man, Kevin Bacon was
It made him
a
crazy,
freaking
right?
creep.
Yeah. But it didn't.
I think it just amplified his already. He was just a
he was
creep.
not the best person.
Like literally the first thing the dude does when he gets invisible is go grope a chick.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's like the first thing he does.
Well, and I was kind of thinking, I was like, wasn't it like Spider-Man 2? Like Doc Ock wasn't like bad, but the chip,
yeah.
messed
No,
with his
in
head.
Hollow Man he was already kind of a
Yeah.
douche,
Yeah.
but then it's like it's that eternal question. Like, okay, well, what would somebody do if there was fewer consequences because you're invisible?
Right.
If you're invisible, what would you do?
Right.
And it basically just told that story in that what they would do is sink to the lowest possible version of themselves nearly immediately.
Right.
And while the visual effects, the story was just kind of, it was Nickelback. That's what we're going to use from now on.
All right. That works.
Empire West, you're off the hook.
I don't know. I just
So, but seriously, it followed the formula.
Right.
It had the right jump scares. It had the 3 times that the bad guy doesn't die.
Okay. Right.
Hollow Man or the new
all
one?
of those, the Hollow Man.
Okay.
And while the Invisible Man still followed some of the,
Classic.
there's a formula for a reason,
Right.
right? It was just better in every way. They put some really cool modern touches on how the dude became invisible, and it wasn't quite, it wasn't quite the same.
Okay.
As the mad scientist drinking the potion or getting shot up with some special serum that made him invisible. So they took some liberties there, which were kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah. That's one that seemed interesting enough, but you always I hesitate because I'm like, I'm not huge.
You're not a big scary movie guy.
I'm not. It's not a movie that I wouldn't watch, but it's just okay. But then you wonder, and I'm glad that you said something because it's one of those we've seen. I saw this once before, when it was Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Shue.
And it's not that.
Right.
It's not that at all.
Because by the previews, they were kind of treating her like she was crazy, right?
Well,
yeah.
Without, I don't want to get too deep into the
Right.
weeds, because they take a whole different turn with it,
Nice.
and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the retelling of it. So
Nice. I caught
check
another
that one out when you can.
I caught
watch
a
it for
stream.
$2.
We had a little Tucker movie night,
Okay.
family movie night, which is sometimes good, but we always like to try and watch a movie. We're big fans of movies that we've never seen before,
Sure.
or at least a movie that we haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But we found one that's streaming right now that's free, that we
Nice.
hadn't seen before, called My Spy with Dave Bautista.
Oh, was that the one with the little girl?
With the little girl that catches
Yeah.
him and stuff.
yeah.
Dude, the bar was low.
Yeah.
So good.
Was it? Okay. I've been kind of going back and
So
forth
good.
whether or not I even wanted to
No, watch
because the new season of Umbrella Academy just came out.
I know.
That show is amazing.
I haven't seen season 1. I've
Do
wanted,
it.
Yeah, but my son
Do it.
sat down and watched season 2 and was very impressed with
Yeah.
it. No, but actually, the beginning of it, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna check out. Like, seriously, this isn't gonna be so good.
All right.
Like,
All right.
and
I will check
a
that one out.
couple, language things for the sake of,
Sure.
so just a heads up that it's not. If you're weird about any kind of little one-liner, things, and them throwing a curse word in there.
Then that exists in this film.
It does exist, but not to the point where it was like they do it in a funny little way. But very impressed. That one kind of sat with me. I was like, that was a whole lot better.
I remember when we used to go to movies together.
I know, it was crazy, right?
We used to
How
take
funny
videos
was it that we decided to change things up
to
a
change
little
our
bit?
format, and then the format would have been destroyed.
Then they shut.
we were
movie
ahead of the
theaters.
curve. We were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, everybody at the curve were like, you know what? Maybe it's not.
Let's take
the best to try and. Well, and it was for the fact of just time, for us to do it,
Yeah.
and then it
And
became
then 2
a
months
struggle.
later, you weren't allowed to go to a movie theater.
Yeah,
and
well,
haven't been allowed back since.
It became a struggle of, hey, there's not really any good movies out for us to go watch, and then there was no movies.
Yeah.
I did see that one thing. We'll have to post that on the Facebook page of new design ideas for movie theaters, and it looks like the Galactic Senate of little pods, which could be awesome. Like if you just have little pods and you have like.
So
Little
my
waiters or
theory is this.
Okay.
We'll probably have to wrap on this because, yeah.
Yeah.
So movie theaters are dead, and I'm glad about it.
Really? All right.
And here's why.
I
So
got
you-
something in my eye. I'm not crying about it.
You're like, don't
say that.
die on me.
Yeah.
No. So I think that the movie theater as we know it is dead,
Okay.
and I think that it deserved to die.
Okay.
While the theater experience certainly still has a place, the fact of the matter is this is a 55-inch screen right here that you can pick up for less than $500. super great video quality. You can go pick up. Actually, I just saw this and I read some reviews on it at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
They have this wireless 5.1 surround sound system.
Okay.
It's completely modular.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a sound bar. You can get satellite speakers that connect wirelessly, a subwoofer that connects wirelessly, and you can pick up the whole rig for less than $300.
Yeah.
Right. So you're talking about for less than $1,000, you can pick up a banging home theater system now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, you got to do some cost differential analysis here, but here's what it costs for my family to go to a movie in the evening.
Oh yeah.
Okay. 4 of us are $9 a piece.
Right.
Please believe that number is going to go up if theaters can reopen.
Oh, it's going to be
Because they're not going to just take this loss. They're going to try and recoup the loss.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
But right now, just right now, for us to go to the theater, it's $9 for my wife, myself, and my 2 older children.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's $36. The other 2 are $7 apiece. So now we're talking $50 just to walk through the front door.
Right. Not to include the big
Yeah.
money grab.
And then you actually have to spend some money.
Right.
You know, you get a couple of tubs of popcorn, some drinks, things like that. You're spending the better part of $100 bill for a family of 6 just to go see a movie.
Yep. Or
I can pay $20 and stream the movie at home, make my own popcorn.
right.
I can invite friends over.
Right.
I can, there's a lot of things.
There's so many options right now.
Pin
Yeah.
thought. I have a thought that I have to put a pin in because we have to
Time-wise.
figure out something we're going to do for an event that's coming up in September.
Yes.
But anyway, so that cost differential, so it's an initial about $800 investment.
Right.
All right. So now that means for me, it costs about $80, $75 to $80 to go to the movies for my family. Okay. So now I start at $800 and I start working my way back from, I'll be generous and call it $55. So now it takes me all of 16 films to recoup the cost of my brand new home theater system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It
The
doesn't.
movie theater as we know it will never recover from this.
Right.
It'll still have a place, but that place will never be what it is again.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think
there's
they
a
have
big
it
change.
coming.
Yeah. I think.
Because I know why they do it.
Right.
And they're just going to have to completely change their business model,
Right.
180 degrees, because the way a movie works, you get a big name movie. I'll just use Endgame as an example. When
Right.
it came out, if a theater wants to show that, they can, but they're paying 90% of their ticket price
Right.
back to the studio as a rental fee,
Right.
right? So,
And
say
they make
you're-
their money off concessions.
and in Arizona, we have slightly lower movie ticket prices than other states. I know I checked movie prices the last time I was in California, and it was a $12 movie ticket for an adult evening showing, right? So, so for somebody in California, that price differential, it shrinks pretty quick.
Right.
If they have a family the same size as mine.
Right.
So now the studios know
Right.
they can make just as much, if not more money, because they don't have to spend the marketing budget,
Right.
which can be astronomical, sometimes equal to or greater than the cost to produce the film in the
There's
first
a,
place.
There's a lot of movies that would
Yeah.
have done better streaming it because
Absolutely.
they didn't do well in the box office.
Yeah.
Like,
I
what was
mean-
it, Trolls 2?
Trolls 2 murdered it straight to home.
It would not have done that well going to the movie
I don't know.
theater.
I mean, it was a super popular first one.
They wouldn't
but
have
it
made their money
dwarfed.
back. Yeah.
It dwarfed
Yeah.
what the first one did, and the first one was huge.
Yeah.
And Universal is doubling down on this. So the Invisible Man was another Universal picture.
Right.
And Universal's doubling down on this. AMC and I think one other major
Yeah.
national
Yeah, I
film
can't remember who it was, but there's been a
theater
few.
chain was like, we won't show your your films if you're going to stream them direct to home. And Universal's like,
Okay.
all right,
Yeah.
guess who's making money right now and guess who's not?
Right.
You know, yeah, we've got a couple theaters around here who are doing like drive up popcorn sales. And that's
Which I
how
don't
they're
even
keeping some
afloat.
sort of income coming in, but it can't be that much.
Right.
The theaters for too long have charged us $7 for a nickel's worth of popcorn,
Yeah. No, if they were smart.
you know, and
Yeah.
$5 for 15 cents worth of soda syrup and a cup.
Right.
We don't need it anymore.
No. And
It's too easy to replace that big picture and big sound experience in your home
100%.
to the extent that, and you know what? Like, my wife's not a huge fan of that big sound experience.
Right. You can get it where you want. But one
Yeah.
of the things I'm looking at since we're doing the backyard is
A
getting
projector.
a projector. And that is not
Dude, I'll show you something off mic that I found that, listen, if it even kind of works, you could get that. I found this projector setup. It was a screen and a projector. Great reviews,
right.
allegedly. You know, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, but a lot of really great reviews. We're talking less than $100 for a 120-inch projector, or for a 120-inch screen and a projector to go with it, like 6,000 lumens. So not the super brightest.
Right, but it's going to be nighttime or
You
whatever.
couple that with that surround sound system that I was just telling you about, because
Right.
it'll hook up via Bluetooth.
Right.
Boom, dude.
Yeah, got it outside. The only
Ball
thing
game.
the only thing I have to figure out, I would have to have like a certain time because I do live in a subdivision.
Finish
And
the
if
movie
it's
before
loud-
10 o'clock.
That's what I mean. Like I just
Yeah.
have to, for it to be loud enough to be awesome, but to not be too loud that people are
Yeah.
going to be stupid about it.
Well, you can do what I do. You know, where I live, I'm not supposed to have as many chickens as I have. But you know what I do? I give the neighbors free eggs and nobody complains.
Right.
So, you know, invite the neighbors over every now and again for a movie night. And,
Right.
And no one's going to complain when you don't.
Right. Exactly. Where it's like, hey, this is what I'm doing,
It's
and
the
just
economy.
started at 6. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's done by 8. And then everybody can worry about their own thing. But
Yeah.
I mean, but going off that, we can have cool little movie nights
Mm-hmm.
in backyard. And it just all depends on the movie, And
Yeah.
some of them, we were talking recently about Knives Out. That just recently came out, and it's already streaming for free.
Well, and a movie like that doesn't necessarily require the theater experience.
Right.
Yeah, you're still gonna have your Star Wars type movies and your Marvels, your Marvel type movies. That sure does
They
that
deserve-
necessarily?
yeah.
It might, at least more so, warrant that theater experience.
Right.
But what we're gonna find out is that might be. Remember dollar theaters?
Yeah, dude.
That might be where those go to live.
I think that there
I
should
think
be.
the market goes to stream at home, and then after so it used to be it went to the theater, then it went to the dollar theater,
Yeah.
then it would get released on DVD or Blu-ray, and then after a really long wait, it would go and it would stream for free.
Right.
And I think what we're going to see is the premium stream, $20 a movie.
Right.
And then we might see some of these theater chains switch over to a second run model, which is what the dollar theater was.
Right.
And then we'll see the DVD release and then the streaming.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that that's the future of
I agree.
the theater going experience. It'll be, if you want to go see it in a theater,
Yeah.
you can, but it's going to be 3 to 6 weeks after the movie comes out.
Yeah. And I think one of the
And it's probably going to get spoiled for you.
right. And I think one of the popular thing or movie theaters, I think drive-in movie theaters are going to be more.
They could
Of a
make a
thing.
comeback. Well, that was the cool thing about the drive-in theater experience is they oftentimes were a second run option.
Right.
They weren't the big movies didn't premiere at a drive-in.
Right.
And again, it's because of that cost, that high barrier of entry where they go, yeah, you can show our movie. If you're charging $10 for a ticket, we get 9 of them.
Right.
You know, and then they have to gouge us for the concessions.
Right. Which is one of those things. Like I never got mad about the concession, but I also didn't want to go.
But anyone who doesn't think they're getting hosed at the
Right.
concession counter in a movie theater.
But if you know why you're getting hosed,
Yeah.
it makes the hit a little bit easier to take.
A little bit, yeah.
But, anyways,
All right.
it's time to work, man.
It is. Oh, before we go, we got to figure out something to do for the Tyson fight in September.
Is this the one where he's fighting a shark,
No.
or is that's this week? He's fighting a shark.
Is he fighting a shark this week?
Shark
I don't
Week.
know.
It's Shark Week.
Oh, okay.
Listen, it's like when Michael Phelps raced a shark.
So, no, but like Tyson fight's coming up.
Yep.
Middle of September. We should figure out something.
Yeah. And then we got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. It's like too much to even fathom.
Our 100th episode is coming up
100th
in 8
episode.
weeks. We're trying our very best to do something
it's hard to
very
figure
special.
out. Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out how we can do it as kind of a live podcast and invite a bunch of people and then have some live music and just have a big old party.
That's easier
but,
said than done.
You know,
Things.
we can't
Yeah.
right now. So I'd been kind of talking to a venue about it, but they don't know if and when they're going to be able to open.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the way things are going, we don't know if they're going to get shut down 2 weeks later after that. So
Exactly.
anyway, keep up to date on the news coming for that. And just thanks for hanging in with us through quarantine, through everything.
As Ellen would say, be good to each other, or
What
I'll
is she?
beat you up.
Yeah, be good to each other, or else.
Or else.
No, so man, you just opened a
I know,
whole different can of worms.
I just wanted to end it.
We're
on that.
gonna dive into the is Ellen the devil next week. So until then, he's Tucker,
He's a beard.
and we are out.